and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for May 27th, Wednesday, 2020, 3 p.m. Eastern. Today we're gonna start doing I have this on my website, the Mantra Prayer of Protection. We're also going to start incorporating mantras. I've gone through in mantras well over 1 million, and it's the harmony and the vibrational frequency, also connected to 0 point energy. So this will just, it's not going to create issue with time or anything. It's just an increased wave field of protection for the civilization and ourselves. And it's just to make sure that everybody understands is that when we do these meditations, we identify the high frequency, and that's the invitation of the high frequency. When you go into the high frequency, lower dark matter frequencies cannot sustain themselves in higher frequencies. You can't take a low frequency and slip it into a high frequency. It can't exist. It will be disintegrated. So that is protection. And the protection is mostly ego that descends upon people, where they feel that they have to have these special things to protect them. That's a bicameral attitude and a bicameral draw. And it's also fear generated. And when you say to people that they're in fear, or there's boogeymen and other civilizations trying to intervene and attack us and all kinds of things, that is ego mind, period. And we all know what ego mind is because we all have it. I haven't met anybody yet that is completely ego mind free. We all carry that, and we all, we either choose to ignore it or to address it, so eventually it can be eliminated. And most of the things on this planet and in it and above it, below it, are there's a lot of ego energy, ego-driven energy that causes a lot of things. It normally would not take place, but with the ego mind, when it takes control, it guides us to literally direct us into creating into reality. And that's what happens just about every time. And that's why it's so important that we address the ego mind in not a confrontational way or an anger way, but in high frequency of gratitude and generosity and humbleness, so that we understand that the ego mind is in a continual attempt. And with many people, it is apparent that the ego mind runs them and directs them. Now, but you'll understand that you come across people that say, "Oh yeah, I used to do that. I used to be worried about being protected, and I used to worry about this and that, but I don't worry about it anymore." Because they connect with the God within, and they understand as long as they maintain high vibrational frequency, then there's really nothing that's going to encroach, invade, cause issues, disturbances, physical, whatever. That's why to stay in a higher vibrational frequency is very important, and that's our choosing, each and every one of us. So if we slip, and we're aware that we slip into lower frequencies, and that energy is just dank. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. You get around somebody, and they think they've got it covered, and they're hiding it. They aren't aware of that either. But you can sense their dankness of how low frequency their energy is, because of how they put themselves in a situation, or they've allowed the ego mind to draw them and direct them. And the frequency of their energy field is just very disruptive. It's very irritating. It's almost smothering. And if you approach these people and you say, your energy is really low, you imagine, do you mind if I smudge you? I don't think that would go over too well. You get out a smudge stick, you light it, and you start, smudging them, blowing the cedar sage on them to dispel all of these lower matter frequencies that they generate for themselves. And what happens is that when you become hurried, stressed, it'll affect those around that individual. They'll affect other people's calmness, and it and see, I'm very, very aware of that, and so when it comes in, when I'm around other people, I sense it immediately, and it's like, get me away from this person as quickly as possible. Get me away from this earthling as quickly as possible. Get me away from this Pleiadian as quickly as possible. Get me away from the Syrian as quickly as possible. It's across the board for all humanoid life forms throughout the universes. And those that aren't humanoid life forms, that are different than the humanoid. Most of the life forms throughout the civilizations, throughout the universes are humanoid in shape. But there's some that aren't. But you still have this ego, and the ego is insecurity. That's exactly what it is. And the ego literally generates all of our issues that we are confronted with in this life, because it directs us on what to create into reality. It directs us on how to think, what to do. It directs us on our stress factor, our anger, our fear. It really does direct us in a lot of ways. And it also will cause people to not be in deep gratitude and be grateful and happy and joyous for every single breath they take in the physical body. That's a toughie for a lot of people, see, because we've taken the body for granted for so darn long that it's just normal. It's just okay. So, and then we don't pay attention to the body until something happens, and then the ego mind does double duty on us. And we get even more fearful and more afraid, and we start conjuring and creating into reality all sorts of things, which in turn affect our physical well-being. So, when you get around people, okay, and you'll know it, it isn't a judgment, but when you get around them and you feel that, okay, you can just briefly talk with them or interact with them, you can tell, wow, this earthling needs to be de-stressed or to eliminate this lower frequency that they're emitting. And it happens with people who get in a hurry, they get stressful, they lose mental thoughts in different directions, and it affects everything around them. See, we're very powerful beings. So you're not going to just affect yourself, you're going to affect everything around you. You're going to affect plants. We know that's a fact with plants and other life forms. If you are in a brittle anger means that you fragment and it disperses. It fragments into powder and then it disperses into particles and it affects everything around it. So it isn't something that earthlings should experience a lot, because it's part of the journey within to discover the fact that I don't care to be in that, okay? You imagine, have you ever been in a situation where you're with somebody and their frequency, they don't have to say anything, just their frequency affects you. It gives you a discomforting feeling. And it starts affecting how you're thinking and how you're feeling. And oftentimes, if you look at that person, you say, wow, your frequency is way low. We've got to do something about that. And, we could maybe pull out a bottle of Palo Santo, which is a wood extract that clears the frequencies and the energies on the body. It's easier to use in public. Of course, it'd look funny if you if you're with somebody and say, oh, I got to get my Palo Santo out and spray you because your frequency is really bad. It's really disruptive. And when people get angry and they get hurried or stressed or fearful or impatient about something and they aren't going with the flow of this life in deep gratitude, love, and joy, what happens is that it becomes very caustic to others that are around them. And they don't know that. It's not like they're doing it on purpose. It's just that that's the way it is. And you start to realize that it affects all of us. When you're around that, in the vicinity of that earthling, and they're in that mode, you become receptive to that frequency. And it's not a good one. But it shows you, it identifies you as, see, that's what happened. Is that what happens when I allow myself to get into that frequency where I'm hurried, stressed, combative, confrontational with myself and with all around me, where I bark at people and I'm critical of others and I judge a lot and I, eviscerate others a lot and stuff. Is that what it feels like when someone gets around me when I'm that way? And it's very important because all of this is part of our ascension and our decision to ascend. Okay? I think that there's a misunderstanding that everybody ascends all together, lifts up. Okay? And since you're part, that can't be done unless everyone is totally aware and in peace, joy, and bliss with themselves. That can't be done. It can't be forced upon anything. Now, obviously, in a bicameral civilization, when the civilization, through cataclysmic or major occurrences, is forced to evolve to survive as a species, that's different. That's not ascension, that's evolution. That's where they evolve to adapt to their environment because of trauma and restructuring of the environment that causes them to literally advance physically to survive as a species. And that happens in all the animal kingdom, and we're all animals as well. We're in animal bodies. I don't mean the God, but the body that we're in is an animal. It's an animal. Dracos are animals. Reptilians are animals. Pleiadians, Assyrians, and Andromedans, I think people put people on different species on pedestals because they believe they're so super advanced and more intelligent and more accomplished and everything. You got to remember that every single civilization, each one of that civilization is on a purpose path that they determine for themselves, that they connect with the pure consciousness within the vessel it's inhabiting. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, how advanced people believe these other civilizations are in their technology. Sure. It's because this civilization has been kept in an absolute void, gulag existence of not knowing and not being educated, not being informed, and not being told the truth. Total dishonesty. And that's why our technologies, we just haven't advanced. That's going to change very soon. Very soon that's going to change. And I'm not talking a matter of years. I'm talking just a handful of months. It's going to change rapidly. So in today's meditation, be aware of your feelings, of the God within you, the pure consciousness. Be aware of your mood, your attitude towards you and things around you. Be aware of things that come at you, like I just explained. People, other earthlings that are around you, that it happens. I guarantee you, each one of you say, oh yeah, I've had that happen with me. I've been around people that literally it disturbs me because their energy is so it's so low. They're so angry. They're so upset. They're so stressed out, and it affects. It cannot not. We're all one. We're all part of pure consciousness, and that's what happens. So be aware. It's being aware of who and what you are. It's being aware. that the only thing that can harm you, really, truly, is you. That's the only thing that can harm you. And when you come to the understanding in your own way, in your own decision, excuse me, you begin to realize that you, and only you, can shift your frequency. No one else can. Even if you're affected by another, you can say, this individual's frequency is not good for me, so I have to dismiss myself and respect away from them. Because you ever notice what happens? When you have a group of people in a room, one starts to get irritated, and then it's a wave that goes out, and it starts affecting everybody, and it affects them in different ways, but they start feeling discomforted. They don't feel really balanced. And have you ever been sitting somewhere where that's happened to you? And you're going, why is this happening? Why am I starting to feel this way? It is because that you're not being aware of the frequencies around you. So when you become aware of the frequencies around you, you then begin to understand is that you are on a journey and a path that you've decided to be on. That's the only reason you're on it. And the journey and the path is to realize that all of this stuff, all the surroundings, everything that you're exposed to and interact with at your own choosing is absolutely nothing. It's nothing. All of it is nothing. The journey is to literally increase your vibrational frequency to the point where all of this, where you're in physical form and you've experienced, you no longer are drawn to being in physical form. So as pure consciousness, you continue to actually ascend and advance to the level where you create universe. I will say that a lot because you'll begin to understand that that's what we do. Now, when you look at the significance of that, and I'm not talking ego, mind, I'm talking confidence through the heart mind one, but when you look at the significance of that, and you start understanding it, simply for what it is, that we are all very, very receptive, very perceptive to frequencies. And when we're able to identify what's going on, not because we move into a mastership of ourselves and into deep gratitude, deep love, deep understanding, deep consciousness, pure consciousness. And when we merge with the pure consciousness within us, or as some would call the God, we become one with that. So that means that all of these things that can cause us to get disrupted or, make rash decisions and stuff, we can literally eliminate it when it comes around. It isn't necessary. It's not something that we care to entertain. That's the bottom line. So we dismiss it very easily. So it's be aware. And be aware, it's in a good way. It's not doom and gloom. It's a good awareness. You're aware. It's just a matter of fact, okay? Some people will say, hey, Alice, if I had a smudge stick right now, I'd smudge you. If I had a bottle of Palo Santo, I would spray you because you're just irritated, you're irritable, you're abrasive, you're very, very unpleasant to be around right now. Now, unfortunately, because the ego is in control at that point with that earthling, what happens is that they become defensive at that. They bark out at you. They get very defensive and protective. Well, I'm not being that way. And see, so you feel that you kind of just say, I gotta get going, or I gotta take care of this, or I have to do this, or I'm gonna go take a walk, or whatever it may be, to respectfully dismiss yourself from that irritating frequency. And you imagine what we're doing here, we're assisting with lifting the civilization into realization that they are a pure consciousness housed within their physical forms, that they will begin to connect with that, and they will decide. Some won't, but I believe that the majority eventually will believe in themselves and will begin to embrace the fact that they'll think for themselves, they'll govern themselves, they will lead themselves, they will create value, they will build wealth for themselves and civilization. This is through technologies and many other things. So in this meditation, be aware. The first thing that I'm going to do is we're going to recite the mantra prayer of protection. And this is for self-awareness, okay? And when we say Father, Mother, God, we mean the feminine and the masculine of the pure consciousness, okay? That's what we're talking about. We try not to use blessing, because blessing is another trick based upon the civilization, which basically means, and this is a real shocker for a lot of people, be less. Blessing is be less. Okay? And that's just like everything else that's been misdirected on the planet. So a thank you for this blissfulness. So here we will do the mantra prayer protection of Father, Mother, God, which is the feminine, masculine, pure consciousness. I ask that I be cleared and cleansed within the universal white Christ light, the green healing light, and the purple transmuting flame. Within the pure consciousness, the God's will, for my highest good, I ask that any and all negative evil energies be completely sealed in their own light, encapsulated within the ultraviolet light, cut off and removed from me. Impersonally, with neither love nor hate, we return all negative evil energies to their source of emanation, decreeing that they never again be allowed to reestablish themselves within me or anyone else in any form. I now ask that I be placed within a triple electromagnetic shield of the universal white Christ light of protection, and for this goodness, I give thanks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now what we want to do is we want to move into a place where we are not going to be interrupted, and I'm sure we all are. And the first thing that we want to do is relax our bodies. And when you get used to relaxing your body, you begin to like it a lot. So you're being aware of your body, and okay, so I have stress. If you have stress, let it go. Is it serving you any? Ask yourself, is this serving me any greater good or a higher good? If it's not, then let it go. Let it go. I don't know of any lower dark matter frequency that serves any of us a greater good. I really don't. It just doesn't. It's just the opposite. So we feel any stresses, any fears, any worries, any anxieties, let them go. It's when you let these go and you surrender to the God, the pure consciousness within you, that you open up everything for yourself. You open it up, the universe, it says, okay, here's a smorgasbord. What would you like? Visualize that. You walk into this room and it's just beautiful, and it's you breathe and you feel really good, and you see all of this on this huge, endless table. All kinds of things, foods and drinks and all kinds of wonderful things. And you can pick and choose. And it is yours. So you relax the body, you let go. Let it go. Now some of us have a difficult time doing that, letting it go. But you let it go and you say, you know what? I have no use for this whatsoever. I release you. Body will relax. use the hammock. For those of you who are new, you use a hammock to relax the body. So you visualize being in a hammock. It's a midsummer afternoon. You got a light, cool breeze, just right, literally blowing over your face and your body. You're in the hammock. Your eyes are closed, and you can kind of see shadows of leaves fluttering, the sunlight beaming through the leaves and the trees. And you can hear like maybe a lawnmower off in the distance, a dog or kids. But it's not disturbing. It seems far away. And you don't move. And you aren't thinking of anything. You're just being. It's a wonderful position. That's bliss. You have no thoughts, no worries, no stresses, no fears, no hurriedness. And you just are. You're just being. It's a spectacular experience. And it's one to be aware of. And it's one that you can create at any time once you get to the point where you're mastering it. So that's relaxing the body. You're not thinking about anything, nothing. No thoughts. You've left the mind alone. The ego mind is in a deep sleep. The subconscious in a deep sleep. And you're just floating. And the body is floating with you, light as a feather. And you don't care to move. You don't care to speak. And you just kind of zoom out. Now, as we relax the body, we want to move into the now. And as we know, the now is all we have. It's the space between heartbeats. It is the moment. Each moment that we're in is what we focus on. We don't focus on the past. We don't focus on the future. All that will create is confusion, discomfort, fear, mixed in with some apprehension and excitement in some areas. It's absolutely a miscombobulated, goopy mess. So we don't go in the past. We do. All of us do at times. But we realize that I'm not interested. I don't care to take the past, bring it into the future that doesn't exist, create that future from the past, and live the past and the future. You see, we don't do that because we've experienced the past. Everything in the past is dead. It's over. It's gone. It isn't coming back. So then you say, well, then I must start. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen an hour from now? You say, no, I'm in the now. I'm enjoying the moment. The moment is all there is. Because you don't know. You don't know. And the only thing that you do know is that the now exists right in the moment. So you focus on that. You also, you desire to breathe. And your breathing is very important because most of us ignore our breathing. And a lot of us find out that some of us stop breathing. Shallow breathe. What is that? What's that caused by? We take it for granted. You take something for granted for a long time, eventually it's gonna slap you in the face and say, hey, you've forgotten about me for a long time. You shouldn't do that, because as you take things for granted, you're remiss in identifying them and giving them gratitude. Give your breath gratitude. Give your lungs gratitude. And so when you take it for granted, you don't give it gratitude. In fact, it's there, and it diminishes. It diminishes. That's why a lot of people on this planet shallow breathe. They're barely breathing. You can watch them. Watch people. Look at their chest. You'll see. Are they breathing in good? Can you see their chest moving? I don't mean trying to kill themselves when they breath in, but taking good, peaceful, easy breaths in and then letting them out and being conscious of the breath and being aware. I bet you, try it. See how many are, and it also gives you a heads up where you start to realize is that, wow, I've got to start concentrating on my breathing so it helps my body oxygenate so I feel much healthier, like more energy. You know why so many people are lethargic? because they take their breath for granted. They don't get enough oxygen oxygenating the tissue in the biological form. So it's very important that we pay attention to our breath. So we move in the now and we focus on our breath as we breath in through the nose and breath out through the mouth. And when we do this, it relaxes us. It calms us. It's proven fact it lowers blood pressure. It alleviates stress. And imagine how many people take it for granted. Well, it just is. I just breathe because I have to. And breathing stills the mind. It stills that chatter, that noise, all of that stuff that we all are exposed to, that we're all being addressed with. So now remember, your body is relaxed, you're in the now, you're breathing. So visualize this. It's very easy, it isn't difficult. Is that as you breath in through the nose. Now take your breath, go right to the root chakra. That's the red colored chakra. It is at basically the very, where your coccyx is. It's the very end of the spine. And then you go up through the reproductive system. You're pulling this effortlessly, this breath in. And you go through the sacral chakra. And then you go through the solar plexus chakra. And we know where the solar plexus is. And then we go to the heart chakra. We feel it as we're bringing the breath up. And we bring it through the throat chakra, which is a beautiful, like a sky indigo blue. And then we go through the third eye chakra. And then we take it right to the crown chakra. And as we do this, we then hold it back of our heads, and very easily, as we hold it, I am light, I am love, I am, in that moment, we condense it and compress it into pure liquid energy. And as we do that, we then release it over the pineal gland. And it saturates it, and it bathes and floods the pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland, you can look at it as a prune, or as a rosebud. If you look at it as a rosebud, it just looks like a rock, or really nothing seems to be significant about it. But when you release this pure liquid energy, it begins to bloom like a rose. And as it blooms, it literally is our gateway to all the particles of existence. It is our gateway to pure consciousness and the reunion of it. And it is our gateway to beyond consciousness. But it's important. That's why we do this with the breathing. Now, as we breath out, we are met with the evil mind constantly trying to tell us that what we're doing isn't going to do anything for us. And we respond by saying, we aren't looking for it to do anything for us. We are part of it. And we are acknowledging that, embracing it in the deepest of eternal gratitude and love. With no expectations, no attachments, and we just go with the flow of the energy and frequency that we truly are. So we're one. We are one with the God within us, the pure consciousness. And we've decided to take that journey and discover every aspect of the God. We're one with the heart-mind. We're one with the body that houses us. And we are consciously aware that we are in the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest, deepest, eternal love and the highest and deepest, eternal gratitude. But we have others with us. We have the archangels, the cherubim, the seraphim, and the archetypes. All of them, there's literally trillions of them, and they vibrate at a different frequency than we do. And that's why we don't see them like we see each other. And they can take on many forms, and they're always there assisting us. All you have to do, well, all you choose to do, is to say, hey, I'd like some assistance here. I would appreciate it. And guess what? You'll have it. But if the ego puts a doubt into your process, a doubt lower frequency, then it won't. We have the ascended masters. These are those who have ascended out of physical form and hold God form, pure consciousness. They assist us all the time. Now, out of the angels and them, are they any better than us? No. Remember, we're all one, and this is, on this planet, it's been perpetrated. We've literally been attacked from the standpoint of believing all of the garbage and the negativity. It isn't true. It holds no water, so to speak. So all of us being consciously aware that we're at high frequency, that's what that means. And that we only embrace high frequency, which is deep eternal love, gratitude, generosity and humbleness and bliss and joy and peace. This is our awareness of that highness of our frequency and where we keep it and where we choose to keep it. Now, all of us automatically form a circle of light. And it's at the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia, and this now, and this meditation. So when we do this, we become light. That's what we are. Deep eternal love, gratitude, we're light. And it's because our frequency is so high that the light is so bright and radiant, and it's just the depth of it. It literally, the sun in the solar system looks like a dim candle compared to our brightness. And it literally grays out the darkness of space. And so, arm in arm, hand in hand, are gods with each other's. We begin to levitate. And as we levitate, we're calling out to every single one. Only those who are consciously aware that they are of the highest, deepest eternal love from the highest, deepest eternal love and the highest and deepest eternal gratitude, because it means their frequencies are very high. No one is going to come into this meditation unless their frequencies are very high and in deep eternal love and gratitude. They can't. They just can't do it. No matter what anybody tells you, they can't sustain themselves even for a split second. And that's such a voluminous high frequency of love. So, what do we call out to? Who are the other parts of source creation, of the consciousness, of pure consciousness? Who are our other brothers and sisters? All of the light energy beings and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. They're consciously aware of their high frequency. So they gravitate and join us. And they come in every direction, 360 degrees, in the googleplexes. And one googleplex fills this universe. They come in the trillions of googleplexes. And we also call upon the inhabitants of Hollow Earth, Agartha, Inner Earth, Beneath Earth, many, many, many civilizations, and only those of those civilizations who are consciously aware of their higher frequencies, of their divine love and gratitude. And join us in this meditation, this circle of light, in this now. And they come in it's massive numbers, trillions of googleplexes. Their gods with our gods with theirs. We're all arm in arm, hand in hand, so to speak. We also call upon all of the galactics, all of the off-worlders, The Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Andromedas, the Arcturians, the Zeta Reticuli, the Feline, the Golden Pyramid, the Avians, the Saturnians. There's so many. Just in this quadrant of the galaxy, there's over 1,000 civilizations that traverse this quadrant. And all of them, if they are not consciously aware that they're of the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest, deepest, eternal love and the highest, deepest, eternal gratitude, they can't join us. Okay? They just can't. Because they will end if they do. Because if they're carrying low vibrational frequencies, if they're carrying energies of destruction, of pain, of sorrow, and anguish, they'll be vaporized. So we are aware. Their gods with our gods with theirs. We call upon, and also they have been with us since the beginning. They have assisted us in our evolution, our ascension, our enlightenment, and freeing ourselves from our own self-imposed bondage and our own self-imposed slavery. We also call out, all of us call out, to all of our loved ones, all of those who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes that we've inhabited. And that goes for all of the civilizations, not just ours. And only those who are consciously aware that they're of the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest, deepest, eternal love and the highest and deepest, eternal gratitude, and join us in this now, in this meditation, this circle of life. We call upon all these light energy beings who have decided on their own to be housed in the following forms, on, in, above, and below this planet Earth Gaia, and this now, in this meditation, this circle of light. There's many of them. There's actually trillions of them. And we only know a fraction of them. The fairies, the sprites, the elves, the gnomes, the dwarves, the trolls, the trees, the elementals, earth, air, water, fire, ether. The mermaid, the dolphin, the whale, the pegasus, the unicorn, the centaur, the minotaur, and many, many, many more. Their gods are with our gods. Our gods are with theirs, arm in arm, hand in hand. Here we all are. All of us who have gathered in this meditation from everywhere, in all existence, we are in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, generosity, kindness, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, and benevolence. And our numbers are so great, all consciously aware of the highest and deepest eternal love and gratitude that of which we are. Visualize that, feel it, drink in the frequency and the energies that we all are. So we all begin to levitate above the planet. And as we do this, we're literally bathed in this beautiful gossamer field of multitudes of trillions of vibrant reflective colors. It's just glitter everywhere. And we see the emerald green flaming healing light. This is Archangel Raphael. This column reminds us that we are the power of healing. We have the violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael. This is a column that reminds us of our power, our strength, our resolve. We have the white fire. It's our armor. It is such a high frequency of deep eternal love and gratitude. It cannot be penetrated in such a high frequency. No lower dark matter frequency or lower survival matter frequency can even get near it without being vaporized. Now, only us, each of us, can choose. Only us, only you, can choose. If you lower your vibrational frequency low enough, then you weaken your armor, your white fire. And if that happens, you then invite lower dark matter frequency and lower survival matter frequencies in. Then we're reminded of the purple transmuting flame. This is a column that we can bring in immediately. We can transmute all those lower vibrational frequencies into neutralized substance. We literally send them back to the pure consciousness. Then they are no more. We also have the violet ray. We bring the violet, that's a column that reminds us, we bring in the violet ray right after the purple transmuting flame, and we purify the whole area. We harmonize. We bring the vibrational frequency in total balance up into total deep eternal love and gratitude. We have the golden white pink light. This is the love that we are, the gratitude that we are, the joy, the bliss. We are aware of all of this. We keep learning every single second. We keep absorbing. We keep embracing. We begin to master more and more of that of which we are, pure consciousness, the God. We are all the one. Remember, be aware, we are all the one. And all, just to understand, we are all the God. And we are all the love. We are pure consciousness. We are immortal. We are endless. We create. And our God-light energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, and it continues to intensify, and it continues to expand. Now we look up and we see our meditative sphere. It said center circle. We all created this sphere over 2 years ago. It houses all of our vibrational frequencies in perpetual motion. Well over 800 meditations coming from a multitude of civilizations, all gathered here now in this meditation circle of light. In this now. It is absolutely spectacular of this gathering every day. The frequencies continue to saturate all the fabric of existence, lifting it ever so carefully into higher and higher vibrational frequencies. Now, the sphere is of the purest and the highest and deepest eternal love and gratitude. It is absolutely spectacular, and we are being flooded all the time, endlessly bathed and saturated in that frequency of which we are. Now, this sphere can be seen, heard, and felt in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And it continues to intensify, and it continues to expand. And it affects everything. And the highest and the deepest eternal love and gratitude. The highest power of all existence. Now, we also see this massive column. This column, we created it, and it is larger than the solar system. And as we look at the column and we visualize it, we see this, it's a golden ocean, 360 from its crown, literally cascading down. And all of us are drops of that golden ocean, and all of us hold the essence of that ocean. Imagine being immersed, which we all are currently right now, in the highest and deepest eternal love and the highest and deepest eternal gratitude. And we are all of the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude and the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love. We look down upon the planet Earth, Gaia, in this meditation, this circle of light. All of us are aware. We are aware that we are the God, that we are pure consciousness. We are aware that we are moving in a journey to begin to create universes. We are advancing and learning each second. We are humble. We are in deep gratitude. We are in generosity. We are in kindness and gentleness. We are in tranquility and benevolence. We are in bliss, joy, and peace. We are in stillness of mind. We are in non-judgment, non-negativity, non-ego. This is our essence. And we are lifting everyone on this planet, all life, the highest value in the universes. And they are being flooded very delicately, very gently. And they are being lifted. And we are all one. And we are aware. Each and every single existence and step in these physical forms, we become more and more aware that we are the God, pure consciousness, that we are the love, that we are the deep gratitude, and we are in total bliss, joy, and peace. Watch, be aware as this continues to unfold. Join in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. you.